Wait. So wait, 20 miles?
Yeah, I walked home 20 miles at like 2 a.m. because I didn't want to go into a haunted house.
Shit.
I dropped a bush on a guy at the haunted house.
What?
What?
Well, this is why I'm talking on the fucking podcast. Fuck this shit.
Oh my god, what just happened? On the official Team DBAH Podcast number 205. Come join us, why don't you? Hello and welcome to the official Team DBAH Podcast number 205. I'm Charlie Danger 82. With me tonight, I have Craig.
Hello.
Hello, Craig. We just recently came back from Italy, Craig and I.
We did, and we are going back.
And we're going back after the podcast. We have Heather. Hello, Heather.
Yo.
Recently has finished something exceptionally awesome. We have occasionally Randall.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Randall right there.
Yep.
Occasionally laughing at the jokes that I send him over the phone and the memes. And here we have someone who was confused for a while that he and I were the same person, because for like a year-long period of time he never appeared on the podcast the same time as me. We have Luke.
What's up, guys?
I'm
Wait,
jealous.
is that true? Yeah, no, actually, yeah, that is, because both times I've been on it, Craig was in charge.
Yep.
Oh man, I miss that.
I miss Max. I miss Max too. I miss Max because you actually got to be on when Max was on.
I
I was
was.
super jealous because I wanted to be on when Max was on.
Yeah, well,
But you were on for the Pikachu party, weren't you?
No, I was not.
Oh, damn.
I was.
Yeah,
yes,
he
you
was.
were.
That was me.
who's
Yeah, it was up high. Yeah.
The illusion is intact.
Oh yeah. I ran over to the sound booth real quick, opened it up, and gave Randall a high five. That's right. For all
I
of
still
it.
really suck at telling Trevor and Luke's voice apart, but apparently Luke has the better mic.
I don't have a speech impediment.
Wow.
Okay, well.
That's true. That's it. It's a fact. Trevor has a speech
I don't
impediment.
have a speech impediment as he's stuttering through 2 words.
Right? Right, exactly. and plus, I guess since Trevor has the speech impediment, I guess he's not the one of the two of them talking through his asshole all the time. So that must be
That's true.
Yeah.
That is that belongs to me.
Man, how? Man. Hey, Luke is like one of those friends you invite over, and he just shits all over everything. Like as soon as he walks through the door. Oh, you have this?
Fish for
I had
dinner
this
again.
like 6 years ago. That's cute. Oh, you have
Hey,
this?
hey, Charlie,
Yeah, I
what's-
have a better one.
Charlie,
Of these.
what's Boba Fett's real name?
Wait. Jester Muriel.
Damn it. Okay.
Yeah, eat a dick.
Fuck off.
Anyway.
God damn it.
yeah.
That didn't piss you off nearly as much as I wanted it to.
Yeah, Luke, the audio engineer sent you a message.
Let's check that feed.
I guess since we're fucking paused, I'm gonna have to edit now.
I just fucking called it out.
Fuck it, I'm leaving it in. We're doing it live.
Get it live, damn it.
Fuck it. Who cares?
There we go.
Is this better for you, Randall?
Yes, sir.
That's perfect. You were a little hot before. You were a little hot.
I was like, I know he's excited, but
Yeah, no,
Happy to be here.
I have like a $470 headset on my head right now.
oh
so.
Jesus, yeah.
See? Comes over
Mine's
your
on
house
like
and
100.
shits all over what do you have. Oh, you
It was
that's
actually like
cute.
$7. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, let's talk about video games. Let's
like
talk about
having a-
video games.
It's like
Video
having a
game
12-year-old
We don't
Max
do
Landis
that
in your
here.
house. All right. Let's talk about video games. Okay, Luke. Let's talk about video games. What do you got? Talk to me.
All right. Where do you want me to start off at? Do you want me to start console or PC?
Where do you feel more comfortable starting at?
I'll start console because that's
Okay.
what I was literally just playing. I've been playing lots of Lucio Ball. on Overwatch.
What league are you?
The ball, huh?
Yeah, we got. I unfortunately am not master. The two guys that I'm playing with are they hit master today. I, however, placed without them, so I placed much lower than they did. So I'm at like 3350 right now.
Okay.
So diamond.
Which is diamond, yeah.
Hey, me too.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Right.
Lucio Ball, it seems like it was a little bit easier to place higher. I don't know if there's a reason for that or not, but I mean, like, I placed in platinum, whereas in competitive I can barely get to platinum.
Okay.
But I don't. Maybe I'm just better at Lucio Ball than I am at regular Overwatch, which is very possible.
I chalk it up to not a lot of people wanting to play competitive Lucio Ball, thinking it's going to be like competitive regular Overwatch.
Oh.
Because I placed like really, really high platinum and then instantly got diamond. It's my next game, so I placed platinum in regular shit regardless. So I don't think there's a correlation between the two.
You know, when you just spoke, and like I said, oh yeah, I actually raised my arm up and pointed like over here because you were coming out of my right ear. I pointed like, oh yeah, like what he said.
Yeah, that guy. Because every time we went to go play before, we would just go to the regular Lucio Ball.
But
no,
Charles, who did you high five earlier when you ran to the sound booth?
No, he's actually on my left.
Oh, okay, I see.
It's just because his voice comes out of my right ear.
Right.
That's when I was like, oh yeah, him. Yeah, see? He has a good point. So, yeah. You think you can swing at the king and make sure you don't miss, son. All right, go on. Go on with your video games. Come on.
I've been replaying Shadow of Mordor to get excited for Shadow of War, which I actually want to talk about later on. Because there's an issue that's come up with it.
Uh-oh.
Not an issue to me.
What did you do?
I didn't do anything. People are enraged that Shadow of War has the option of microtransactions within the game.
Right.
And I cannot think of the developer's name for the life of me at this moment. But the developer of the game came out and said that the microtransactions are not necessary. Like, all of the items that you can buy, you can still earn within the game, and so it doesn't give you unfair advantages towards the game or anything like that. It just, if you would like to buy things, you can do it quicker. And people are really pissed at this and are like, oh well, it's them doing this is encouraging companies to do that with other games and whatnot. But wait. Many games have been doing this for a very long time.
And plus, it's not a multiplayer game, am I correct? It's a single player.
I believe, and I could be wrong on this, I haven't kept up on it as much as I'd like to. I don't think that there's much multiplayer based things. I think that they're going to have like leaderboards of like how you do in single player and like how much of an army you have and whatnot. But I don't think that there's going to be a PvP style like army versus army thing. And even so, I would assume that they would place you with someone relatively similar to your level, your tier. And so while I totally get why people are mad about it, because like I don't really like pay to win games. And in games like Hearthstone or in games like Overwatch or in games like NBA 2K, where you can, or in WWE where you can like buy credits or currency or deck packs, stuff like that that'll help you get further in the game. I usually don't buy them, but I understand why they're there, because there's some people who have that disposable money and they don't want to play 40 hours a week.
What is Overwatch? Overwatch is just cosmetic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's only cosmetics.
Yeah, it's well, and what I mean is that like, it's microtransactions. I'm not, right.
I'm
not saying that like Overwatch isn't pay to win by any means, but they still have the microtransactions within the games. You know, you can buy loot boxes. Which
I pay to win.
For that,
oh shit!
Like for that specific game, it doesn't make much of a difference. But regardless, I still don't buy the loot boxes. But there are people who do because they want to get all the skins and the voice lines and stuff like that. And, you know, they don't want to play 175,000 hours of the game to get everything. They just want to spend $100 to get, you know, a quarter of it or whatever.
Yeah, those people.
Yeah. And like both ways are fine, but people are getting very, very mad at Shadow of War, and a gaming Facebook page that I follow. One of the admins shared it, and they came out and they openly said that they want nothing more than this game to fall flat on its face, and they want it to do so terrible and awful that it lets developers and producers and stuff like that know how badly microtransactions can harm your game and all this kind of stuff. And it kind of threw me off because there's so many games I can name that feature microtransactions, whether it's paid to or not, that I guess I don't know why this specific game people are so pissed at.
Yeah, that's weird. Why are they singling this one out?
Right. But I don't know.
That's stupid.
I've also been playing lots of PUBG, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
For the kids at home, thank you.
Yeah. For Steam, and it is so much fun, but it's so intense. Like, it gives me anxiety sometimes.
Really?
Yeah. Because does anyone here know anything about the game? Or
Yeah.
I've watched it.
Okay, so
Hunter play it.
And of course, we talked about it at length in the last podcast. But if you don't listen to the podcast, that's cool.
Got him.
Go on.
Well, anyway, because it literally gives me anxiety sometimes because I've never won. I haven't won a game yet. I've played probably 25 or 30.
Mm-hmm.
But a few times I've placed within the top 10.
Ooh.
And I got third once. And so it starts to get really stressful when the circle is so small and you're, one of 8 people left, and that they're all around you, but you can't see any of them. So you're constantly looking, and obviously you can't look in every direction at once. So you're just consistently turning around until you see someone, and then you get shot in the head by some dude outside of the play zone with a sniper.
Oh, man.
I was playing with a few friends of mine, and I ended up, we had a storm here while I was playing, and the storm kicked me off my internet while we were in second place. They ended up winning and getting the chicken dinner, but because I disconnected, I wasn't a part of that.
Oh, no.
So I was a little upset about that. But some things like that just happen. There's nothing you can do about it.
That sucks, though.
Yeah.
That's another game that just came under fire for the microtransaction cosmetic stuff.
Yep.
So that's
which again, that because honestly, in a lot of cases, I think that not only do the majority of the cosmetics, not only do they not do anything, I feel like a lot of them hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you're wearing boots, your footsteps are louder. And the large like dusters that people wear, the large long coats,
Mm-hmm.
If you're crouched, they'll flare out behind your feet, as if you were actually like wearing one.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're like trying to hide behind a tree or something like that, even if your feet are covered by the grass, that will be flaring out of the back of you, and people can see you behind trees and bushes and stuff. And so a lot of the clothes and cosmetics in that game, I feel like they don't really, in most cases, actually just hurt you.
Yeah, that's really weird that people would bitch about it then. If it's a choice that you're doing, it's kind of like giving yourself an extra challenge.
Right. But I think, and I mean, honestly, I'm not really disagreeing with this. But I think it's just most people that games are already very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's just microtransactions of any sort, whether it's started by a company or whatever it is. And I think that, and you know, I know we've talked about this before in the past. EA's like DLC fetish is that it's just you're buying. Obviously, they want to put more into the game and they want to give you more gameplay, but they don't want to do it for $60. And so they want you to buy the game and then inevitably come out with more content. And now there are certain games that it's understandable, like, you know, games like Destiny that have, you know, they've released a game and, you know, it takes time to develop all this content and whatnot. Or in Overwatch, obviously Overwatch doesn't make you pay for any of the updates and whatnot, but you know they update based on the thing, or Diablo that has expansion packs. But in Mass Effect, for example, you pay $15 for like two missions, basically. Like in Mass Effect 2, I know there was I can't remember the name of the DLC, but you got the kind of like battle-hardened veteran dude as a follower.
Oh, Zahid, the Price
Zahid.
of Revenge.
Yep. And the quest line that came along with it. I think it took me 2 hours, and it was like $25.
Unless, of course, you bought the game, because that's another thing. That was if you got it, that actually came with the game, or if you pre-ordered it.
Okay.
Because that was a big thing at the time. If you had gotten it used, or if you just got it like from someplace other than a certain retailer, you actually had to pay for it. That's what a lot of people were up in arms about for that one.
Right.
So, a good story though, and I like that character.
Yeah, no. I liked that character, and then the other one that I can't remember who it was. It's been a very long time since I played Mass Effect 2, but they released another follower as well, another companion after Zaid. And it was a woman. It was, I want to say it was like a rogue.
It was
like a rogue mission.
Oh, what's her face? Trying to think. She was like a super hacker type person.
Yeah.
Yes. Her husband or lover had been killed, and she was all. It was a heist mission, sort of like the Ocean's 11 like heist type mission, where you had to infiltrate the underworld gang. And
yes.
Right now, I know Dave or Jake are screaming at the
right
at the screen, or the whatever they're taking this in on. Okay, so Mass Effect.
Kasumi,
Stolen Memories. That's right.
Be acquired at the beginning of the game, increasing.
That's right.
Yep. I still think that Garrus Vakarian and Rex are my favorite.
Big fan of Garrus Vakarian. Big fan.
Always a big fan of Garrus Vakarian.
Sure. You and I actually have a similar but very different takes on who's good to bring with you and who's not good to bring with you on Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh, do we?
How's that going for you?
I played for 8 hours straight yesterday, and I was able to do 4 loyalty missions. There's a great mechanic, awesome mechanic in the game, where you'll end like a mission for someone, and then they'll say, I'll let you know when I have more information, or you need to go to the ship and check your email. Why can't you tell me now? So you go to the ship. So you leave the planet, go through one cutscene to leave the planet, then go through a loading screen. Then you're on the ship. Then you go to your little email thing. You open up your email. It says, okay, I need to talk to you. So you go and talk to the person. Go to open the door. Loading screen. Then you talk to the person. Oh, yeah. It seems that I found that this person is on this planet. Can we go there? Yeah? Cool. Let's go. That's the extent. Like, you could be one planet over. You could be on the same planet, and especially if it's on the same planet and they call you up to go back down to the same fucking planet, that pisses me off. But I have gone from one planet through like 2 loading screens just to get to the interplanetary thing. It was for Jarl's loyalty mission. And it's like, oh, we're having an incoming message from this dude. And we walked up. The conversation was 1 minute and 30 seconds. And it was basically this dude saying to Jarl, in essence, you suck, you're an asshole, and then just disconnecting. and I just said, I had to come back to the ship for this.
Right.
There was also I don't know if this happened for you, Luke, because you didn't go the same path I did, but there's a certain person where if you develop a relationship with,
I already know where you're going with this because I do not like this character.
Yeah, exactly. So she has this like weird floating drone thing in her room.
Everything about her is weird, but
and she's shy. She's shy.
So yes, that is
she
true.
needs to ask you a question. So you talk to her, and she goes, "Okay, just stay in here. Don't get freaked out." But as she's saying this to me, the game is such a fucking broken baby that as she's saying this to me, she's turning into Kitty Pryde because she's fading through the door behind me. She is completely phasing through the fucking door. And half of her is in the room with me, half of her is out, and then she just goes out. I'm like, oh, we're not going to talk about this anymore? We're just not going to talk that you're a mutant on top of being, a certain, alien race that we all know and love? So, except for Luke.
I don't dislike sorry, I just don't like Peavy.
Yeah, I know. I could see where she could be grating on some people, but I just, ever since the first Mass Effect, I've had a thing for Asari women.
With Liara.
So, yeah. I mean, my first playthrough through Mass Effect 2, I didn't cheat on Liara at all.
Nice.
And that all paid off, I think. Was it 2 or 3 that had Shadow Broker in it? I think it was 2.
3.
Okay.
Was it 3?
I think so.
Can't. But yeah, I stayed true to her in my dalliances. I think it was 2. I think Lair of the Shadow Broker was.
I think that was 2.
Mass Effect 2, yes. Because I was gonna say no, I couldn't have stayed true to all 3 games. No, oh yeah, because she comes back in the 3rd game, doesn't she? Yeah. So I stayed true all through the 2nd game, and then Liara came back to me, and I was just like, oh.
Did you stick with the same character profile throughout all 3?
Yes, I did. And yeah.
In Mass Effect 1, who did you save?
First playthrough, I saved Ashley.
Okay.
And then when I played through it again, I'm just like, wow, she is just a fucking hate monger to anything that's not human. No.
Wow, really?
Yeah, dude. She's the most racist thing about Mass Effect. And there are Turians in Mass Effect. Who don't like anyone. And just fucking... God. And just like everything she says is just this vitriol.
I would say the Solarian are more speciesist than the Turian.
You think?
Well,
they committed genocide on an entire species,
they
basically.
kind of did neuter the entire Krogan race. So yeah, you kind of got me on that. But
true, but I think they were doing that more. I think they were doing that more from like a Vulcan logic standpoint, and there really wasn't emotion involved. So is that still the same thing, though?
Yeah, your Vulcan mind. It could be. It could. This is a.
I think there could be arguments either way.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just I kept every subsequent playthrough after the first, I kept Caden.
Yeah, I did as well.
Then totally got bitched at. And Mass Effect 2, because I didn't save Ashley, I'm like, okay, dude. Happen to notice that you're here and you're alive, as opposed to being dead on that planet, but that's okay. But
Wait,
yeah.
how did we get here from microtransactions?
So we're talking about DLC.
DLC and Micro.
Oh, okay.
And
How
EA.
EA has a fetish for it.
Yeah.
Their CEO gets hard for every DLC they sell.
Well,
season passes. Oh.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
yeah, I'm okay with microtransactions if they're all cosmetic. Then it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or if it's a single player game like the Lord of the Rings game is going to be, or you're paying extra to win quicker, but all the stuff is still in the game, then that's your own call if you want to spend more money on it or not.
In Assassin's Creed 4, since I had no talent for sailing, I got every single ship enhancement that I could and resource enhancement to build up my ship as quickly as possible so I wouldn't have to go hunting for everything.
You can also buy, like, all
But
the treasure chests.
what's that?
Something about
You can buy, like,
treasure
all the-
chests.
You can buy all like the treasure chests and the collectibles in Assassin's Creed 4 too, if you just don't feel like doing it all.
But here's the thing with that. It gave you the resources for it. And it gave you what you needed to find the treasure chest, but it did not let you unlock it until you actually swam down, got the treasure chest to get the blueprint. It told you where it was, but it still relied on you to have enough, to play the game enough to where you actually had to go and get the blueprint in order to make it. Once you got the blueprint, you could make it, and you're fine. And you could have like all the top tier stuff unlocked for the ship, but you had to unlock any of the tiers before that in order to build that. It just gave you what you needed to make it and where to find your blueprints. So that, in essence, you paid for it, but at the same time, it still made you play the game, which is kind of cool. And considering it was Ubisoft, I was like, huh, that's interesting. Actually, Heather, that gun that you use in Watch Dogs 2, the really nifty,
The
Is
air
it the-
shotgun?
yeah, the air shotgun, was that part of
Yeah.
the DLC?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you feel about it? How did they handle it with that? Was it like, just really overpowered weapons, or was it just like cool weapons cosmetically?
It was just
For the game.
more. Those basically were just more weapons that I could use that weren't non-lethal, basically.
Mhm.
I got the sniper taser gun with it too.
Well, it's more challenging to play non-lethally for Watch Dogs 2 anyway, so
Yeah, 'cause
maybe
they fucking wake up, murder
Yeah.
the shit out of you.
because I mean, like, so I guess the DLC was maybe to give an edge to the people who actually want to play it. How it should
I mean,
be
I
played.
think there were other guns you got too, but I don't actually know because I didn't really play with any of the guns. So
I mean, when
I didn't even know
Pepper-
they had silenced weapons in the game.
They do. I found that out because I am very bad at playing non-lethally. So yeah, I made sure I got silent stuff and heavy artillery to get Heather out of the trouble that she would get herself into, because she didn't have anything to deal with people lethally, and I had to just be like, automatic shotgun. Yeah, sure, I'll get.
You had to help me with the actual players in that game.
Yeah. Because I guess if you cause enough mayhem, bounty hunters come in from other games.
Yeah, it's a multiplayer thing. It's actually kind of cool. They'll be like, cause they'll be just driving around in your game. They'll be like, "There's a bounty out. Do you want to go help get the bounty?" And you're like, "Sure." And then you join the other person's game and just go start wrecking them with the cops.
It is a pretty cool mechanic. I like that.
Their multiplayer in the game is pretty cool. Good concept.
Well, we were enjoying some of the quote unquote party mode with Sam.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you had just restarted the game, so you were like, the best player of the game is now like lower than my level, which was like level 2.
Literally had played like maybe 15 minutes of the game. and I hadn't done anything. I couldn't even hack cars yet.
We were wrecked by one trash can robot.
True.
I'm sorry.
There was a trash can robot that we were trying to take out, the three of us, and we were just getting destroyed.
Huh.
It was a sad day in Mudville. But
That is sad.
Yeah.
Sounds sad anyway.
And I found out also, unfortunately, I can't do this the cheap and easy way. Once you go through a mission in Assassin's Creed Unity, if you go to replay it, it gives you, it puts you to right the beginning of the mission, but it doesn't give you the beginning or ending cinematic.
Yeah, I
So
couldn't remember. I'm like, I think it gives you some of them. I don't remember if it gave you all of them or not.
Yeah, so I actually do have to go through and play the entire game on the PlayStation 4. And it sucks because all of my cool weapons are gone.
Yeah.
And what sucks even more, all the outfits I had on the Xbox One that we unlocked via multiplayer, can't get those.
Well, yeah, because it's unlock them.
Yeah, because the fucking multiplayer is just like, okay, let me know if this is bullshit or not. All right, so I contacted Ubisoft because multiplayer for Assassin's Creed Unity won't work on the PS4 or the Xbox One. It just won't work. And it's like, oh, you have to, like, you know, make sure that these certain ports are open for all this, and like make sure that in here they gave me a list of ports I needed to open and all that happy horse shit. Every single fucking game I own, I can play with people. If it has multiplayer, I can play it with people. As long as the servers are still running, I can play it with people. I don't have to open ports. I don't have to do anything fucking special. I own several Ubisoft games that I am able to play with people, including Assassin's Creed 4, which came out before Unity. I can still play. Why are you telling me that this is the only game I own that I have to do something special with in order to play it? Why not just not be a bitch and say, we didn't maintain the servers because after we released the free DLC to everybody, we just didn't give a fuck anymore and we deserted this game. Just grow a spine. Tell me the truth. It vexes me. It vexes me because we had plans for Assassin's Creed Unity, and I'm still a little raw about that.
How much does it vex you?
It vexes me so much that
That much.
Yeah.
Speaking
That
of being
much.
vexed,
Yes.
this is gonna kind of take a turn. I am seeing Critical Role live
Kinda.
Friday at Gen Con.
Oh, nice.
And the reason I say, speaking of vexing, is for those who don't know, one of the characters, her name is Vexalia, and so her nickname is Vex. So I will, as tomorrow at about 1, I'm driving to Indianapolis with a friend of mine, and we are spending the weekend for Gen Con.
That's so awesome. Everyone loves Critical Role. I have not gotten a chance to check it out.
I am so about it. Like, I kind of, and this goes for shows, for video games, for movies, for music. I go through like phases. I will play one game or I'll listen to one band or one genre of music or whatever it is a lot for a month, for 2 months, maybe for 3 months. And then I'll kind of get bored of it and I'll move on to the next one and I'll just kind of cycle through stuff like that. I'd say that since I started watching Critical Role last July, I have never been an episode behind. And, you know, they release it every Thursday. Even if I can't watch it Thursday, I make sure I watch it before next Thursday. I have never been an episode behind since it came out. So throughout all of my phases of being obsessed with X thing, that has been able to be consistent for over a year, which I can't say about most other things that I get very invested in. And I was on a podcast a few months ago and I talked about it quite a bit.
Wait. Wait.
Yes.
You cheated on us? That's what you're saying?
No, no, on this
That's-
podcast. On this podcast.
You said a podcast. That's why.
Sorry. I guess I was
The podcast.
I meant a previous podcast. I guess is what I meant to say.
As much as I enjoy trying to destroy Luke at any time I can, I must, only this time, point out that of all of us here, there are only 2 of us who have cheated on this podcast, and Luke isn't one of them.
It's a valid point.
I would say that's true.
Valid
Yeah.
point.
So, just saying, us in glass houses, we cannot throw. Just this once, we cannot throw at Luke.
Just this one time. Every other time.
Just this one time. Every other fucking time, get those fucking rocks ready.
Right. Yes.
But please go on.
And
You were on a
no,
podcast
it's just,
and you would talk about this.
Yes. I talked quite in full about my love for Critical Role. But no, it's very. I don't get to play D&D a whole lot. Recently, I have a campaign that Trevor is in, that I have a few other friends in, that we're able to play pretty consistently. But admittingly, I don't play as much as I would like to, just because of work and friends' works and everybody's schedules and whatnot. It's hard to be able to coordinate properly. And it very much so kind of not only helps curb my need for D&D, but it also, it's very much so, it's a form of entertainment. It's, they have some episodes that are short as 3 hours, and I think their longest episode was clocked in at 5 hours and 45 minutes. And they admittingly a little bit slower. I think their YouTube series is a few episodes behind, but they upload them to YouTube. If you either subscribe to them on Twitch, or if you pay for their personal streaming site, because Geek and Sundry, who produces Critical Role, who I believe Geek and Sundry, I don't know if founded is the proper term, but it's run by Felicia Day.
Okay.
They partnered with Nerdist, and the 2 of them, through Legendary, the 2 of them run a streaming service called Project Alpha. And basically any show that Nerdist and or Geek and Sundry produces is up on Alpha, both for streaming and for you to watch whenever you want. But in order to get access to these things, you need to be signed in. And in order to have an account, you need to pay $5 a month, which I'm perfectly fine doing. I do not mind supporting the people who give me content that offers my that gives me entertainment. And it's just Matt Mercer who DMs it. He's a very immersive storyteller.
Immersive.
Yes. There it is. Matt Mercer, who voices McCree. Many other people. Yes. And just recently they had a guest, Darren DePaul, who Darren DePaul voices Reinhardt. He was Arden Azunia in Final Fantasy 15. And he won 2 awards. He won 2 BAFTA, or not BAFTAs. I don't know the proper. Anyway, he won 2 voice acting awards. I don't remember the proper acronym for it.
There's so many out there. I don't.
He won 2 voice acting awards. He won breakout voice actor of the year, and he won supporting voice actor for Arden Zunia, which he totally deserves. Arden was a great character, and obviously Reinhardt is amazing.
Still can't believe he did a voice for Reaper.
Keith Silverstein.
And he did the voice for Blue.
His previous work is what got me.
Yes. Yeah. His no, they're voice act they're impressive at how Nolan North does an old woman voice that's scary good, to the point where I was listening to like an interview with him, and he did it, and I was only like kind of like half paying attention to it, and I didn't realize that it was him doing the voice. He started doing it halfway through, and I thought that my YouTube had auto-played to a new interview with like some random old lady. And so it threw me off. So I went back and I'm like, oh, that's really good. And so the story that Matt has created, and the way that he tells it, and the way that he allows his players to help him tell it and adapt to it and whatnot. It's time consuming. It's very much so an investment because, you know, they record a D&D session, so it's at least 3 hours long. And so it's definitely a time investment, but if you are willing to invest the time into it, I think it's very much so worth it. I have cried both from laughing way too hard and from it actually being legitimately emotional at times. And because they're all not just regular voice actors, but, you know, they're seasoned, they have theater experience, and they have on-screen experience, and they have you know, all different types of motion capture and all this kind of stuff, training. They very much so know how to get into their character and get into their story, and it's like the way my friend described it, who introduced it to me, he said it's like watching a book, which I know sounds strange, but the point is because they're giving you the characters and the lines and everything like that, and they're setting the scenery for you, and you're listening to it and watching them do it, but you're creating that scene in your head. It's not being shown to you.
Right.
And that's what I think is really cool about it, because if you want to get super into it and you want to try and imagine everything that's going on, you can, but it's also something fun that you can just put it on in the background. You can listen to it when they make a couple of jokes or references. You can laugh and enjoy it. And not invest too much time into it. So I enjoy it either way.
Well said.
I recommend it to anyone who enjoys voice acting and or D&D.
That's actually a very good to stick to the realm of fantasy, to get away from get away from one fantasy and go to the other real quick. Heather, you just said you started watching Game of Thrones not too long ago.
Yesterday, so yes.
Yes, that is not too long ago.
Not too long ago.
Impressions. Give us your impressions. And
Well, I know a lot of spoilers for Game of Thrones, which is
right.
I don't know how they get there or what happens to lead up to it, so it's still interesting in that sense. But also, there's so many characters. There are so many. I know which ones to pay attention to because I know which ones are still alive. And
That's,
honestly,
I was about to say, don't get attached.
And then my friend who I'm watching it with, she's like, you can't watch it alone. She goes, I told her, I'm like, I kind of want to watch Game of Thrones. She's like, I'll watch it with you. She's like, I've been wanting to rewatch it. She's like, but don't watch it alone because she's like, it's not as fun. I was like, okay. She says it also makes the sex scenes a lot less weird. I'm like, okay, cool.
Nice.
And so, it's nice watching it with her because, I'll be like, they'll be going on about houses, and I'm like sitting there looking at it, going like, no, I didn't follow any of that. She's like, it's not important. She's like, it's not important at this point. They don't go into that until like season 6. I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't follow any of that. And then there's just so many people, and they're all white dudes with beards and slightly curly hair, and I can't tell the difference. So like, which one's that one? Whose brother is that one? Who are they related to? Why do they matter? I'm like, I don't know which one that is.
That's because you know nothing, Jon Snow.
Oh,
white
shit.
dudes. I really like him.
Oh, it's my sword. Going to the wall.
Did you see the video? I haven't actually seen Game of Thrones. I've read the first 3 books, but I haven't watched any of the series. And I cannot think of the other character's name. But Arya Stark gets into a sword fight with another character, and it's been within the last like couple of seasons. Someone animated it or changed it that it's the same sword fight, but it's with lightsabers and lightsaber sound effects, and it's so cool.
I think that was last week's episode or
Yeah.
2 weeks ago.
Okay, I guess I thought it was from the previous season, but like I said,
Yeah,
I'm
they
the worst person
they
to-
actually did that in some of the first season too, because there was a duel between two characters in the first season, and the only spoiler I'm going to give is one of them is not around anymore, and they actually
I
put the
think I've seen that
lightsabers in.
part.
Oh yeah, okay, with the back of the knee or
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right.
Took
So
a thing
Jamie
to the knee.
Lannister and Ned Stark are having a
Mr.
sword
Pretty
fight.
Boy at this moment.
Mr.
I'm
Pretty-
told he gets better. He came on screen and told me, I'm like, oh, look how much of a dandy he is.
This sister fucker over here. No, but yeah, they actually redid that. That's a pretty well choreographed fight in one of the early episodes. So it was him versus Ned Stark, and they did that with the lightsabers. Yeah, it's very dense. I find it also suffers from a bit of a trapping, a fantasy, unfortunate Tolkien-esque fantasy trapping that 17 of the names will sound like the exact same thing.
Yep, that's why it's
And,
ultimately level than watching with my friend, and I think she's read like some of the books. So she knows who's who and what's going on, and so I just go, didn't know that he just is talking about. She's like, it's not. They don't really talk about that until later. So she's like, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay, cool. I won't.
And it's sort of like it's sort of like when somebody's telling me deep video game lore about a video game as I'm playing it. Whereas just like as soon as I start hearing, well, this is how something, and they did this, and like further on down the line, they did it, like,
Yeah.
just the eyes slowly go dead.
And what is his
the
name?
drool
Khal Drogo
starts
is
coming down.
Weirdly rapey in the TV show and not in the book.
Weirdly. Directly. Well,
I feel like
also,
there's like in the book, it's so nice though. I'm like, I'm gonna pretend that was the beginning of the relationship, so this is less weird.
in the book, Daenerys is also 13. So
Fair.
But yeah, it's a lot of people love it. Like so many people love it.
I enjoy it so far.
It has gotten better.
I
Two
hear.
seasons ago was a little slow, but there's a lot of
Honestly,
stories set up.
I do enjoy it. I can't wait for the dragons, even though I know that they come forever. But
What?
That sounds like a terrible porn. Dragon cum. Anyway. But oh no, actually, I'm thinking. Well, you're probably not too far off from the dragons.
so they don't come till season 3.
Technically.
It's fair.
No, I disagree with that. But I'm at least glad you're enjoying it.
I said I already have some a group of favorite characters. So
There you go. See what I did we used to work with somebody. Craig and I used to work with somebody who was just fucking crazy about Game of Thrones. Just like he was very, very boisterous and loud about Game of Thrones and everything that you would bring up. And to piss him off, I would usually look on the Wikipedia to read everything that goes on, like in the book, as like opposed to the episodes that they would play, and I would read the synopsis of the episodes because I didn't have HBO, and we would talk about it at length. And he's like, "Well, what do you think of that?" And I'm like, I didn't see the episode." He was like, "What? Well, did you read the book?" I'm like, no. So I would just like do that just to like throw different random facts out. It was like, "You're not watching the show yet," and I'm like, No, I won't.
I honestly thought I never would watch Game of Thrones, which is why I never cared about spoilers, never cared about anything. But then I watched certain people play a certain Telltale game. I'm like, this is kind of interesting, and I'm kind of curious. And then
I think
And then Randall kept talking about it.
Randall never talked about it. To be fair,
Yeah.
Yeah, I did. I heard him.
Michael and Gavin, I think, are the two people from Achievement Hunter on
Yeah.
Playballs.
I think that's a fair assumption.
They played Telltale's Game of Thrones, and I was like, I guess I'll watch this. I'm never gonna watch the show. It never really interested me to begin with. I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting.
Actually,
this is actually really interesting. Like,
them playing it makes me want to play the
shit.
game, and luckily it was free on PlayStation Plus. So
It was.
yeah,
I was like, shit. All right, I guess I'm gonna watch Game of Thrones now.
I really like.
And then I was
really
like, this is
Gavin
actually,
speaking.
this is like, I'm also like, this is quite interesting. Like, and then we started the show, and I'm like, this is actually really good. I like it.
It's not bad.
It was one of those things where I never thought I'd be into Game of Thrones, which is why I thought, I'm like, I'm just not gonna watch it. I'm like, I'm probably not something we need to do. Fucking Achievement Hunter.
You know what? Speaking of I never. Okay. So, I know you're not a huge horror movie fan. Heather.
Oh, I don't. Probably, I guess.
Have you ever been scared by a movie monster? Like when you were younger or something, like just
I was scared by everything when I was younger.
you're at, okay, good.
That's why I didn't watch horror movies.
It's good to start. Was there a reigning champ? Like something you were just like, no, and just leave the room?
The biggest one was, like, it wasn't even a horror monster. I just didn't do well with horror movies, and they made me super anxiety and panicky that I didn't watch them for
Right.
a long time. But the first horror movie I saw was Darkness Falls. I don't even know if that was a
Okay.
good one. I don't remember that one enough even to know
Right.
what the fuck it was about.
The Tooth
But-
Fairy.
Oh, there you go.
Yep.
That memorable now.
Yeah.
But they just stressed me horribly out when I was little because I'm still that way, but I was a very paranoid tiny child. But
I'm still that way.
I know I'm still a paranoid. Still a paranoid big
Still a
child.
paranoid
Yeah,
tiny child.
Yeah.
but I
Oh,
haven't
boy.
really gotten over.
refuse to participate in any horror-related activity.
Really?
But
Okay.
now my
I will
brain
not
is
go to
full of
haunted
horror
houses.
mistakes,
I
so
will
it's
not
fine.
watch horror movies. I will not play horror games.
Haunted house is stressing me out too. It's not really
So
because it's a haunted house. It's just because there's so many people in one place and I don't like it. Because I actually worked in a haunted house for a long time, so you think I'd be okay. But, like, there's all these
And it
people.
wasn't seasonal either. She just,
She was
it
just in the
was
house.
just a desk job in a haunted
That's true.
house, and she was just like, yeah, well, whatever.
I accidentally dropped
Ooh, water
a
cooler's
cage
full of blood again.
and it was fine. You're not supposed to touch anyone.
You
But
dropped a what?
so one of the rooms I did was it was just like it's like an insane asylum looking thing. So there's like I don't know what it was. It wasn't really insane asylum. So the one I worked at was like a giant just like a giant bunch of rooms stuck together, and each room had a theme and shit. Like I worked in the clown room for a really long time. And so I don't know if anyone knows this, but I have really shitty depth perception.
Leela.
I
She's
had
our
actually had
Leela.
eye surgery when I was younger, which kind of made it better, but not really. Twice. But there was a part where there was like a cage in the corner where you could like bang on it. But then it actually was, of course it was open. They locked the high schoolers into anything, but you could just like I would make, which was a bad idea, and I don't know why I decided I could do this. I would like sit there and like, I like make it on so I look freaky and stuff like that, and I'm sitting there like rattling this bush. Randall signed on.
The
Who knew?
shrubbery.
Oh, it's that kind of haunted house.
I was rattling the cage, and then
How did
They
you
would,
get
like,
Bush
walk
from
past-
Cage?
Randall signed on right when I was saying it, and I read his
Oh.
name.
That's fair. That's fair.
And so,
Yes.
you good there?
I insert myself into all the conversations. Pause.
Bush. Go on.
Self-insert. So like I would rattle the cage, and then we would get short enough distance to like the entrance of my room. I would drop it behind them, just because I thought it would freak him out. Yeah, the one I didn't like hit him pretty hardcore or anything. I just smacked him on his shoe, but I misjudged it. It like smacked him right on the ankle. But I'm pretty sure he was super drunk because he looked at me really panicked and went, "Oh shit, she's out!" And then they ran. I was like, "Oh, that works too." Don't report me. I'm sorry.
Oh, thank God. Go back
Guys,
to my
gonna listen to this podcast randomly.
Go back to my normal job of bush rattling. I gotcha. Wow, and I never knew that about you, Luke. Never knew that.
What that I check out of horror stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I walked 20 miles home at 2 a.m. because my friends, I didn't want to go to a haunted house, and they're like, "Okay, fine, we won't go. We'll find something else to do." And the person I was driving with was following the person in front of them, and apparently they had decided, "Hey, let's just take him to a haunted house so that way he can't leave."
Yeah, that's not cool.
So I walked home.
You realize, though, that's how most horror movies start.
Right? That sounds like, the beginning of a horror movie.
The point was that when we got there, because like we pulled up, obviously when we pulled into the parking lot, I knew where I was at. I'm like, all right. And I told them, I'm like, well, I'm not gonna go in. They're like, what do you mean you're not gonna go in? I'm like, I won't go. Like It gives me way too much anxiety that it's safer for me if I'm not a part of it. And they were like physically trying to drag me into it. And I was like, you know what? No, we're not doing this. And
cool.
I told them, I'm like I told them, like, all right, fine. We got in line. I said, okay, well, before we go, at least let me go to the bathroom. And instead of going to the bathroom, I left.
Sneaky Pete.
And like 25 minutes later, they called me and they're like, hey, are you okay? I'm like, oh yeah, no, I'm on like I knew where I was. I knew how to get home and everything like that. And I was like, yeah, no, I'm cool. Everything's fine. I'm just on my way home. And they're like, oh, okay, that's dumb. Whatever, man.
Should have just been, I'm still in the bathroom. I'm pushing out a massive,
right.
massive,
mind you, this was not
Lovecraftian shit right now.
And just, this was not Trevor nor any of the friends that we are involved with. This was a different group of people that I no longer talk to.
I wonder why.
Not for that specific reason, but just for a multitude of reasons.
That's a fucking dick move. That's horrible. You don't put people in.
Yeah, I think
a situation. You just don't.
In their defense, I think they just thought that I was being scared. They didn't really think it was going to be like that big of an issue to me. Because like I tried to play it off as like, it's not really that I'm scared. I just don't like them. Because I didn't want to like tell them.
Yeah.
And so I was like, nah, I just don't like them. I don't think they're fun. Blah blah blah. So they're like, let's force them to do it. And then I think when they realized, oh, this is actually a huge issue, they were after that, like they didn't try and make me go to another one.
Craig, Randall, any monsters or anything that kind of got you all sorts of petrification when you were a kid?
Well, two separate occasions. Both were around Halloween time.
Right.
I was younger, under the age of 8, I'll say, like somewhere between 6, 7-ish, maybe. One time, my cousin's husband came over because my parents and my aunt and uncle, like their houses were literally next to each other. So they were next door visiting them, and all of a sudden there was a knock on our back door. And, being a kid, I'd be like, oh, yeah, I'll get it, whatever. And I ran out of my room through the kitchen to get the door. And I opened the door, and I look, and it was literally like a cartoon. I opened the door, I looked down. So I saw his shoes, jeans, a shirt, and then he looked down at me, and he had a giant Minotaur mask on. like full cover your face and head mask, like all vinyl and rubber.
Nope.
And he goes,
Nope.
brrr. I'm like, and I
Nope.
jumped up straight in the air, turned around, and ran back into my room.
That is a situation where one of
Sweet
two
Jesus.
things are happening. I'm hitting somebody, or I'm just passing out, because that's like
I don't remember touching the floor, the door to my bed. I think I turned around mid-air and just went back. The other
Yeah.
time was something like that, but not as bad. My brother was having a party, costume party, Halloween party. At the time, he was really into Kiss. So I was going
Okay.
downstairs because
I like
his
I love this story.
stuff was in the basement. That's where his room was and all that, and it's furnished and all that stuff. So when you go down the stairs, one of the closets for him would be under the stairs, right? So there's a door to that, and going down the stairs, there's like these wooden pole things, so you can see through. You can see the basement. I'm going down there, and I can see his back in the closet. So he's in the closet, kind of like hunched over. I just go down there to see him, all happy, and he turns around, and he's
All happy and naive.
his face was painted like Gene Simmons, and his tongue was painted,
Whoa.
and he did the same kind of thing, and I also did the same thing and ran back upstairs.
Painted
Nice.
his tongue?
He ate candy or something. It was all red. Probably Jolly Rancher.
Oh, that makes much more sense. I was like, that doesn't sound like a good thing. Is he
No,
alive
no.
still?
He stuck on his tongue, and it was painted like Gene Simmons.
It was.
He put acrylic
That's what it
paint on his
was.
tongue.
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Randall
I
and
think
what's that?
What?
Oh,
So-
so Randall, do you have any sort of monster input or anything that scared the crap out of you?
Stupid ass video that was on Facebook the other day. It was this dude about to catch a big ass spider, and then the spider jumps towards the phone screen, and I threw my phone in the air.
Okay, all right, that's fair.
Oh man, I have a good one.
Well, okay. Please.
Spiders don't scare me. Spiders I'm chill with.
Yeah, they're not scary. Just the video was fucking stupid. One of those stupid jump scare ones. I'm like waiting
Right.
for him to catch the spider that jumps towards the screen.
Right.
I'm like, God damn it!
No. Heather.
Oh, they in college, me and a couple of my friends of mine, freshman year, we would just go into each other's dorms and we started playing all the Silent Hill games. We were playing the second one at this
I don't
point.
like this.
And it's other than my one friend just screaming very loudly at like 2 a.m. I'm like, Lily, there's people sleeping. It's like Tuesday. But like I don't know, those games kind of make you paranoid. So I like went back to my dorm, which now I was in by myself because my roommate had moved out with her to live with her friend in a different dorm, and so you just get like that, and it's not like logic paranoia. It's just that weird paranoia you get after like playing a video game all night where you're being murdered and things are trying to kill you. And so I was sitting there and I was like, I kept seeing something out of the corner of my eye. And like I turned around, I saw movement, I fucking jumped, and it was just the vapor from my goddamn what is it called, the humidifier. I was like, oh my god, what is that? I was like, it's just my humidifier, you fucking idiot. It's okay.
I basically the whole reason I did not know it was going to get this deep. The whole reason why I brought it up is that Alien Covenant came out on DVD a couple days ago,
Is that the
and
How is it?
no, I downloaded it onto my phone because for some strange reason I watch a lot of movies on my phone as opposed to the television that's right next to it lately. But I've always loved the Alien movies, and it was just really weird.
So how disappointed are you with the last 2 movies, then?
Disappointed for straight up Alien movies, like Prometheus and Alien 4.
Yes.
Alien 4 was just fun. And you're talking about the one with Ron Perlman and Winona Ryder and all that.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that was just fun. I don't care, whatever. And Prometheus, okay. Ridley Scott directed an Alien movie. Oh, cool. I'll watch it. Oh, he did another one? Oh, cool. I'll watch that one too. It's unless it's like versus Predator, where the first one I enjoyed because it was a lot like the comic book, but the second one I did not so much enjoy because you couldn't see what the fuck was going on because the lighting was so horrible in it. I like, okay, my parents, it's a strange thing they did. When I was a kid, I was not allowed to watch any of the Jason movies. I was not allowed to watch any of the Freddy movies, the Mike Myers movies. No, I'm not talking about Shrek or anything like that. I'm talking about Michael Myers from Halloween. I was allowed to watch. No. First time I heard All Star, shit myself. No, but I wasn't allowed to watch horror movies. But I was allowed to watch Alien and Aliens because they were sci-fi movies.
Okay.
So
what about Predator?
Same thing.
Okay. All right. I just want to see if there was consistency.
But the thing is, they're sci-fi horror movies, but they didn't see the horror part. So I'm sitting there and basking in all of this, and so. But the thing is,
how old are you at this point?
When I saw Alien and Aliens, I had to be about, okay, Aliens came out in 86, so
correct.
I was around 10, 11 years old.
All right.
So when I first saw Nightmare on Elm Street and Jason and Halloween, I was in my mid-20s. So, like, what terrorized people of my generation when they were younger, I got to see as an adult saying, oh, that person's in a rubber suit, or that person's wearing prosthetics, that person's doing this, and none of that bothered me. So, and plus Aliens, it was suspenseful more than I was afraid of the Xenomorph. I think the Xenomorph is an awesome, awesome creation. I think when Giger created that alien, it's just like, okay, it is a weaponized, just heavily armored penis, and it is coming towards you with another little penis that shoots out of it. That's terrifying. And it's just beautiful in its look, and not because it looks like a penis, but because it's just an awesome looking alien. And the Predators I thought were an awesome looking alien as well. And they didn't bother me, even though they were just tearing through people and just acid blood and unstoppable. It was suspenseful, but it was cool. The thing that terrified the fuck out of me when I was a kid, though, and this is when I was about 16, 17, I saw Candyman. I'll never watch Candyman ever again. Not just because I'm allergic to bees. Just that fucking movie freaked me the fuck out. I won't say anything near a mirror at all. I won't say how you doing 3 times in front of a mirror. I'm afraid fucking Joey Tribbiani's going to show up.
Yeah, I was going to make the joke. I was going to wait till you took a break to say this joke.
Fucking Joey Tribbiani and like Enzo Amore show up with hook hands and they're fucking like stabbing me to death. I never do it. But yeah, Candyman. That's what got me, and I will not go to a haunted house either, because it's exactly what I think. What Luke said. It's too much tension. It's too much of. I don't know what's going to go on in there. I'm going to look at that.
I wonder.
I don't either.
You think Luke could be able to sit through the Warrens? Well, there's only one of them left, but.
The Warrens is
the Warrens.
Okay. There were a paranormal. Okay, have you? You wouldn't.
Short version.
Movie. No. Short version. 2 paranormal investigators.
Oh, I know who they are.
Yeah.
They're
that
fakes,
were
aren't
present during like The Exorcist. That were present in like the real life. They had that movie Annabelle, that creation that they just like are showing on TV. Annabelle is in their house. They have it in a glass case.
Okay.
They were the people they were the first Ghostbusters, essentially, that like earned like a worldwide reputation as being these, not spiritualists, occult experts that would come and, assist in exorcisms, that would like find haunted houses. And they used to do college tours and high school tours in in our region because they lived around
Not far from us.
not far from us. So like, if it was a college, around Halloween, you'd all go into an auditorium and shit would happen after they were done.
Weird
in the
stuff.
auditorium. Real weird shit. And I went there twice. And I would never go. I never went to see them again. So it's just they had like a slideshow. They had recordings. It's real next level shit they had.
Yeah.
I
They were like, we
what
can't play this
started-
for too long because bad things might happen. They played it
Yeah.
for like 5 minutes.
Thanks, guys.
Because what started my fear, I guess, because when I was young, and most, at least from my experience, most kids are kind of like this. That I didn't like the dark. When I was in the house, I wanted the lights in the room that I was in to be on, and I would turn. Like if I was leaving the kitchen into the living room, I would turn on the light in the living room, then go back to the kitchen and turn the light off before I would transition. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I still do it now. And every summer, my brother, my cousin, and I would go to my aunt's house, for like a week. We'd go there on like vacation. They live a few hours away. And we would go there every summer to visit them. And my aunt and uncle, they liked doing this thing called story time, where, before bed, we'd come downstairs, we'd light a bunch of candles, and my aunt would make cookies for us, and like we'd sit around and we'd tell stories. And it always had to start with Once Upon a Time, and it always had to end with And They Lived Happily Ever After. Now, my uncle, he mostly told, before he got married to my aunt, he did lots of traveling. He was very much so a hiker. He was in the Navy. He hiked around Alaska. He's hiked around Canada. He's hiked in Europe. So he would tell lots of different stories about then. And my aunt would tell mostly family stories, and my brother and I would come up with really stupid shit. My cousin liked telling horror stories.
Oh, Jesus.
And every single time I would cry because of the story she told, because it scared me. And mind you, at this time, I'm like 6 or 7.
Right.
And the reason it scared me is because for whatever reason, it's given I'm still kind of paranoid, but I was a very paranoid kid. And in the place that we stayed in their house, basically we stayed on like their loft. They had like they had an upstairs, but it wasn't fully done. It was like a half upstairs, and there were 2 bedrooms, a bathroom, but there was a ledge that looked out into the basement, and it was into the main floor. And their house was it wasn't in the woods, but there were other houses around them, but everybody's backyard was kind of this forested area. So at night, walking around that house creeped me out. Mm-hmm. And in the bathroom, on the they had like a slanted ceiling in the bathroom, and there was a sky window in the bathroom, and that window terrified me.
Oh, okay.
Even though we were on the top floor, I couldn't see anything out of that window at night. And so any horror story my cousin told, I would always think that thing was could be at that window at any time. So I just didn't go to if I was tired and I needed to go to the bathroom, I would force myself to fall asleep and go to the bathroom when I woke up. Or I'd turn on every light that I could and walk if I really needed to, I would turn on every light and walk all the way downstairs and use the bathroom right across from my aunt and uncle's room.
Well, actually, that's to add little atmosphere to the whole thing. I'm watching the chat right now, and whenever Craig wants to type something, he has that Raven icon, but only the like Raven's eye like slowly pops over the sight line, like he's like looking over, like, like a certain
Right.
Christmas elf. Oh Jesus! But this went places where I didn't think it would go. Thank you guys for sharing so much. That's pretty awesome. I don't know if I'm going to be on the Halloween episode, and we probably should have been doing this for a Halloween episode, but fuck it.
We'll go back to it.
Yeah. Well, we'll go back to this well.
There are enough people. I'm sure you can have different people on to tell their stories.
Yeah, absolutely. But unfortunately,
I'll probably be busy and or ignoring you.
That's that's the thing. When you said that you were available this week for after our back and forth on Twitter, when you said that, by the way, I'm available this Wednesday, I was just like, then I look forward to seeing you Wednesday. I was also going to tweet right after that. I also look forward to you canceling the day of with some sort of fucking excuse.
Okay, no, legitimately, the last 2 weeks I've actually felt very bad.
And you had actual valid excuses.
Yeah,
so.
and like this week, normally we play D&D Thursdays, but obviously I will be in Indianapolis tomorrow, so
Right.
I can't play Thursday.
Right.
And before that, Trevor had asked, he's like, hey, do you mind if we play Wednesday instead? And I told him, no, I have to record the podcast. So this was like maybe 2 or 3 hours after that Twitter back and forth. So literally, I had the opportunity to play D&D this week, and I'm like, no, I've canceled on Charlie twice. I feel really bad. I don't want to do it again.
I appreciate it.
I'm committing to the podcast.
I definitely appreciate it. But like all good things, this podcast has come to an end. So I'd like to thank Craig for being here. Craig, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for always being you.
I try my hardest. Heather, thank you for being here this week.
Yeah.
Randall, thank you for recording everything and making everything sound so pretty.
Yeah.
And Luke, I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you sharing this week. Damn it.
I appreciate you guys, and I wish that my job was easier to work around.
We talk way like I'm glad that
Working's
there's still
overrated.
Twitter. I'm glad that there's still Twitter, so I actually get to talk to you.
Twitter's been. I'm not going to devolve this into anything, but Twitter's been an interesting place the last.
It really has.
Couple of weeks.
It really has, and it's just going to get fucking crazier.
Yeah. I didn't.
It's too late in the podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, Craig, you're not only on this podcast.
I am not. I'm not.
Tell me what the other podcasts you're on.
It
Like
is
that
the
segue,
football. That was a nice segue. I like that. It is the Football Fig Nuts podcast. So myself and my friend Britt, we discuss fantasy football, news going on in the NFL, beer, and other like kind of randomness, but mostly those two subjects.
Can I actually ask a quick question?
Yes.
That you may know. So there's fantasy baseball and there's fantasy football.
Yes.
Why is there no fantasy hockey or basketball?
There is.
Why is it not?
Bam!
Why is it not as huge as the other two? I guess was more so
because out of all the sports in America, and the NFL is probably still the biggest one.
Okay,
that's why.
So it's just I hear about it more.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right.
But it even exists for golf and Indy, NASCAR racing. So.
Because I pretty much only care about two sports, and that's basketball and football.
Yeah, no, you can definitely play those if you choose to.
I feel like I like football and I like watching it, but I feel like I'm not invested enough in the sport itself to actually ever be able to be good at a fantasy league.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas basketball, I would own that shit.
You should try it out. There's free ones. See how you do.
Good. I like free stuff.
Listen to their podcast.
Yeah, well, at least for the football part of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen after the season ends, but yeah, we'll see.
Get some insight. Is it secretly just a podcast where you guys talk about the league?
No, we haven't mentioned the league yet at all.
Really? Oh.
We mentioned the league that we're in, but not the league.
If you really want to know,
I could listen to the podcast.
Well, you can listen to the podcast, but I believe that he and Britt have over 30 combined 30 plus years playing fantasy football, and are now bringing that knowledge and advice to the public.
We are. And you can go to fignutsdfs.com. We're also on Facebook and
that's right,
Twitter. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, check those guys out.
And if you're into the gambling stuff, we do DFS stuff too. But
shit, that's double. Wait, anyway. So, quick thing though.
Mm-hmm.
But while you're here, before you go over and check that out, make sure while you're here, check out teamdba.com, where you can check out this podcast as well as any other podcast we have right there on the site. Or you can go to, Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, Player FM. It's all there. But you can listen to it right there on our website. You can also check out the pull list that comes out every Thursday from Jake, where he tells you what comic books you should or shouldn't get for the week. You can listen to the monthly Loot Crate review from Jamie. You can also check out our multitude of different articles from a bunch of talented people. And if you're into something visual that's not too abysmal, you can go on over to youtube.com/teamdba to check out a new video game video, 7 days a week, and every Sunday you'll get a video game play by a nice little video game play set to this podcast. What will it be this week? I don't know. You're just gonna.
I don't know.
And remember, if you're over there, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you like what you see. Turn on notifications so when we put up that new video 7 days a week, you'll be able to know about it. But anywho, thank you so much for listening, folks. I've been Charlie Danger 82. This has been the official Team DBAH Podcast number 205. We'll see you next week, and until then, please remember, don't be a hero. Good night.